CBS National Television. Assistant head coach with the San Diego State Aztecs is Brian Dutcher, who's on the hotline on XX1090. Dutch, thank you very much. Darren Smith, appreciate a couple minutes as always.
Great to be back, Darren.
I appreciate it, and I guess you guys catch a little bit of a scheduling break here, is that you guys don't have to play, and BYU has Colorado State tomorrow night, so I guess that helps.
Absolutely. A good time to rest some legs, because our guys DJ in particular has been beat up the last 2 or 3 weeks, so we gave him Sunday and Monday off, and we did not practice DJ today. So he's gotten 3 days off, which we think is important.
Absolutely, and coming in, I guess everything has held form for you guys as well. Were you ever worried between the last time you played BYU and now that they're the next team on the schedule, did you ever worry, or I should say, how much did you worry about focus and looking ahead and putting too much in the rematch?
You know, Darren, we're coaches. We worry about everything. So we were worried about every game. We could have played any team in the country, and we would have been worried. So that's our job. But we're happy to be where we are and have gone undefeated since we lost to them, and looking forward to a rematch.
Well, now what are you going to do tomorrow night? Are you going to watch the way they play against Colorado State? Are you going to be watching that game live, watching it as a team, as a staff?
We'll watch it probably just individually. You know, the kids are going to, I don't even know, is it on the Mountain or is it on CBSC? I don't even know what channel it's on. So. Oh,
boy, you are just putting it on a tee for me when you ask a question like that. Do you get the Mountain in your house?
No, I do not get the Mountain at home, so I will have to watch it somewhere else if I'm going to watch it live.
Oh, my goodness, Coach, you have no idea. You just made my day by saying something like that. Brian Dutcher here on XX1090. All right, so they play Colorado State tomorrow night, which I certainly think will help. How about the 11 a.m. start time? It's a little peculiar, but not something that you're completely unfamiliar with.
No, and the early start against Air Force kind of gave us a little preview of that. We had an early game at the academy, and we had to get up early, have breakfast early, and get our motors going. And we tried to tell the kids, there's so much AAU basketball now where they play early games, and that's kind of what their memory of it is. And we say this is not AAU basketball. You can't take a half to get going. You can't be slow starting. And we made an extra point of that at Air Force. And I don't think we'll have a trouble getting them ready to play BYU early. They'll probably want to play at 10 if the game's at 11. They'll be ready to go.
What time? I mean, what is their schedule? What time do you ask them to show up, and what time do you get them, dressed and putting their sneakers on and shoot around and all that other sort of stuff? Yeah,
pregame is always 4 hours before tip, so we'll eat at 8 a.m. pregame, and then with an early morning start or the after 11 o'clock start, we won't do a morning shoot-around. We'll just get a little early before the game. Usually it's an hour and a half before the game. We require them to be there, but maybe an hour and 45 for this one and get some shooting in before the tip at 11.
Brian Dutcher on XX1090, assistant head coach at San Diego State. Do you expect, in terms of atmosphere, it's hard to expect the fans to be any better than they've been all season long. I mean, against New Mexico, you couldn't even hear the referees blow their whistle, and I was 15 feet away from them. But do you expect what do you expect from the crowd, knowing it's a nationally televised game against BYU? Can they be better?
I think the student section, all they have to do is be the same. I think the non-student section will probably be louder than it has been, would be my guess going in. The people that cheer sporadically, I think we may get them for 40 minutes on Saturday.
Right. I mean, because the place is so darn loud anyway. I mean, it's tough to hear yourself think. What's it like when you're down on the court? Do you have as tough a time as I had listening to the referees blow the whistles?
It's tough to hear the whistle sometimes. Play might go on a second or two past the whistle because no one can hear it. So that's fine. That's part of the game, and it makes it a good home court advantage. If they're trying to call plays verbally or get some instruction from the bench, that's hard to do.
How much of it?
We run a lot of our calls there and just with hand signals. So when we're in that type of a situation, we can still get organization on the floor.
How much do you expect? Do you think that they try to do the same things they did against you when you guys played at their place?
You know, I think so. They played us very physical, and I think the stat that gets overlooked, they're a team that averages 3 block shots a game, and they had 8 against us. And we're a tough team to block our shots at the rim. Malcolm and Billy and Kawhi take the ball strong, but it was so physical that they were able to body up on us and get some deflections on our shots. So we're anticipating another physical game, and hopefully we've adjusted the way we're going to play adapt to that style.
Well, I know you mentioned in the past that you expect, you think you might run a little more with them now that you're down at sea level. Is that the advantage? Everybody talks about the advantage that teams have in the Mountain West Conference playing at elevation. Is there an advantage that you have playing at sea level?
Well, I think obviously the game at their place, we talked earlier, they were averaging 89 points a game at home, and we just felt at altitude we didn't want to go up and down with them. Whereas being on our home floor back at sea level, we'll be looking to get up and down a little bit more and score some easy baskets. They're a very good half-court defensive team, so we know to get the point total we have to win, we're going to have to get some stuff in transition.
Have you guys spent any time this week? I mean, you're not – the coaches poll came out. You guys are ranked 4th there. You're ranked 6th in the AP poll. What did you think about where the different polls ranked you guys this week?
I don't pay a whole lot of attention. I like the fact that we're ranked because I think it'll help with our seeding, and that would be the only reason. I think everybody's just waiting for BYU, and how this game shakes out will have a lot to do. If we can win this game at home on Saturday, then the rankings will take care of themselves, because I don't think anybody can say, well, that wasn't a tough opponent, that wasn't a challenging game. I think the winner of this game will definitely get a leg up in rankings and seedings in a couple of weeks. Well,
if you were a head coach and you were asked to write out the ballot there, who would your top 5 teams be?
I think they're pretty close to right. I mean, I like Pittsburgh. They're physical. They're strong. They can dominate the game with their physicality. Duke, who can argue with them? They got 2 losses. They're the defending national champs. Kansas, obviously, is very talented. Still trying to hit stride. They've had some suspensions, some guys getting added late, and so maybe they're a team that'll hit stride later in the year, as the season goes on, as they blend all these pieces together. So, Ohio State, obviously, an experienced team with maybe the freshman of the year in the country. So there's just lots of good teams. And the beauty of basketball is it's not the final poll that determines the winner. It's the team that wins the last game. So the polls are great for media and for us to kind of talk about and give us fun speculation. But in the end, basketball is different than football. The national champ will definitely be the national champ.
Absolutely, and that is clearly what matters in this sport. Yeah, I didn't have a major problem with it as well, so I'm glad to hear that you didn't. I think 4th, 3rd, 4th, you could split hairs on that. But did you think at all when you went to bed on Sunday night? Did you think maybe you guys would be the number 1 team in the country when you woke up Monday?
No, I was honestly thinking they might drop us a spot or two. You just never know. You just never know. They might say, well, I think a lot of people, they're saying, do we really want to buy into the Mountain West? Do we want to say that this conference deserves this highest seeded a team? And I don't think enough people have legitimately seen us to say we passed the eye test. Those that have like our team, but I think a lot of the people that vote on these polls, East Coast media, they might have seen us 1 game this year. So for them to say we're going to, go all in with the Aztecs or with BYU is it's tough for them to swallow and say we're going to do that.
Well, and that's the beauty of this weekend's game. Being on national television, everybody gets a crack at not only you guys, but gets a crack at BYU, which ultimately is getting a crack at the Mountain West Conference.
Absolutely. We're going to be seen. We're going to be seen from coast to coast in a wonderful time slot. And people will obviously have a strong opinion for us if we play well and win, or a lesser opinion if we happen to get beat. So it's a proving ground game for the Aztecs and the Cougars.
Well, this is the 29th game of the year for you guys. You guys are 27-1, so that's 28. One more is going to be 29. Okay. That being said, do you expect nerves early in this game, knowing what's on the line? And I thought a little bit first time around, first matchup, maybe a little bit of nerves. Do you expect that even this late in the season?
I hope there are. I hope it has that kind of feel, because that's the way it's going to have. It's going to happen in the first round of the NCAA tournament. You're going to have that feel. So there's nothing wrong with having that. I think it's an adrenaline type thing. You're going to get through that first adrenaline spurt where all of a sudden you're tired for some reason, a minute or two in, and then you're going to catch your second breath. The game's going to settle into the whatever pace it's played at, and everybody will get comfortable. But I think definitely at the start there will be higher adrenaline, and both teams will be trying to catch their breath and get into the pace of the game.
Fredette scores 43 on you guys last time. What, if anything, would you have done differently? It seemed to me like you put hands on him. It's not like he was wide open every single shot, but what can you do differently against Jimmer Fredette?
We'll try to keep, we may go a little less with DJ, although everyone will have a turn to guard him, I'm sure. We'll try length on him. I've heard a lot of people say, like, well, why don't they just put Kawhi on him? Well, you're taking our best rebounder and you're having him guard 35 feet from the basket, so if a shot goes up, your best rebounder is 35 feet from the basket. So, obviously, at times we will put Kawhi on him. We will put Billy on him. But by doing that, there's a give and take with everything you do. You're saying Kawhi Leonard's 35 feet from the basket when a shot goes up. How many rebounds is he going to get?
Right.
Or all of a sudden, if he goes to the offensive rebounds and they outlet to Jimmer, how is he going to find him on the break? So if the basketball was a half-court game and we could set it up every time, then our matchups would be easier. But because it's so fluid and up and down, matchups are often based on the pace of the game.
What about the philosophy that, it's tough to stop the guy, so why don't you don't pay a ton of attention to it, focus on everybody else? I guess you can make the argument that's what happened in the first game, but I'm sure you've heard that. Let Fredette get what he's going to get, and just make sure you keep everybody else out of double digits.
That was kind of the first game, the way it played out. We had the score we wanted it. They were in the, I think they had 56 points with 5 minutes to go in the game. And they ended up in the 70s, I think. But the score was where we wanted on the road. Unfortunately, we didn't score enough. So I think we're as concerned with stopping him, but also generating enough points where we feel we can score enough to beat him. And the fast break's obviously going to be a part of that. We're going to have to score some in transition. Going to have to get some putbacks. But we're obviously the game plan is not to give Jimmer another 43 and hold him in the 70s. We want to keep him. We want to keep him below his average, and we're going to do whatever we have to do to hopefully make that happen.
Is Billy White, is he okay? Is he healthy?
Yeah, Billy was really bothered by his hand at Air Force. He grimaced, and when he hurt it in the New Mexico game, we put him back in, and someone threw him a pass, and he immediately wanted to come out of the game because it was hard to catch the ball. But he had a great practice today. Seems like the 2 days off has helped his hand, and he played extremely well today. So I don't think the hand's going to be an ongoing issue, but it was for a game or two.
All right, so when we look, just going through game logs here, the New Mexico game, the game prior, it woke up a little bit against Air Force. That was all injury related.
Yeah.
Okay.
At New Mexico, when he hurt his hand, he blocked the shot and slapped the backboard, and I think it jarred his hand, and so now he's back to 100%. It seems like to me today. He was phenomenal in practice today.
All right, Brian Dutcher here on Double X 1090. Are you nervous about this game this weekend? How important? Everybody has their own reasons for thinking this game's significant. Regular season conference championship, playing for seeding in the NCAA tournament. Internally, why is this game so important to you guys?
Well, I think we want to win a conference title. Obviously, going to every year, and that's your goal, is to win the conference. So if we get this win on Saturday, it's going to put us a leg up in the conference race with 2 to go. So that's obviously very important. And then the other things are seeding in the tournament. Hopefully maybe we can get to the West Regional. We want to stay out. We don't want to travel like we did last year all the way to Providence from San Diego. I don't think any team traveled further. So we'd like to try to win and get a high seed and stay as close to home as we possibly can.
Have you ever measured Kawhi Leonard's wingspan?
No. It always seems to be just long enough, though.
Because, I always heard that I don't know how true it is, but your wingspan is as tall as you are. So, lengthwise, you're going to be as long as you are tall. And it seems like he might be an exception to that. It seems like he might be a little longer wingspan-wise than he is tall.
Yeah, I think he is. I think his hands alone give him another foot or two. He's got the biggest hands I've ever seen, so that alone would give him the extra foot he needs with wingspan.
Have you had a preview copy yet of the article written on San Diego State in Sports Illustrated this week?
Yeah, Mike May emailed it to me, so I got a peek at it. It was really nice. It's nice to get national recognition, and people are recognizing the hard work that our kids and the coaches have put into the season, our administrators, our students, and it's fun to get recognized. It's nice, but obviously it's not the end all. We have grander goals for ourselves than an article in Sports Illustrated, and that will yet to be played out.
Right. And how much do you have to monitor that stuff, given the fact that everything that everybody's going through at San Diego State is somewhat unprecedented? How much do you have to monitor that and make sure that the kids understand? You and Coach Fisher have been through it before. How much do you have to pay attention and rely on that experience from being on the national stage?
You have to watch it, but we're 27-1 because we got kids that are able to focus. You know, if we had an unfocused team, we wouldn't have the record we have. So they've been dealing with national attention, obviously, from the start of the season when they were the first San Diego State team ever to be ranked. So there's been a lot of firsts this season, and so it doesn't seem to have caused a stumble in the way they prepare and play. So I would think it'd just be more of the same. This is a focused team. They have a goal for themselves to win a conference title and to make that deep run in the NCAA tournament, and I think that's where their focus is.
And I'm sure it probably felt very good for you guys to set the San Diego State single-season record for most victories here, and you still have a bunch of games to go.
Absolutely. I mean, we're very proud of what we've done so far. To get the school record for wins is a tremendous accomplishment. But we have grander plans, and I know the kids do, and we want to just keep tacking it on so the next team will have a tougher time catching this one.
Do you guys, I mean, people have asked me about Kawhi Leonard and his future at San Diego State. Is there a time and a place where you guys have discussed that at all, or is that for after the season?
You know, I think that's for after the season, Darren. I think Coach will sit down with him. Obviously, he's dealt with this before with a lot of great players over his career, and they'll sit down when the season ends because, you know, when you think of it, a lot of players' names aren't made until this time of the year, until tournament time, until the last 2 weeks of the season. So there's obviously people know he's a good player, but he can either raise the bar for himself higher by putting into a great March run for us.
Do you get to boss Steve Fisher's kid around a little bit since he's lower than you on the totem pole?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
That just goes with the territory. Of course I do, but not around his dad.
Oh, really? Why? He's not a tattletale, is he?
No, I'm just teasing. No, Mark and I've known Mark since he was in, I think, elementary school. So Mark and I have been good friends for a long time.
See, I wasn't sure if Steve Fisher, you know, sometimes the assistant coaches in any sport, they become the guys who get beat on a little bit. So I wasn't sure if you turned that around and took it out on Fisher's kid.
No. Absolutely not.
All right, I didn't think so. I just wanted to make sure. Hey, I can't wait to watch it. Can't wait to see it. How many people are asking you for tickets?
No one. I'm not answering my phone.
That's it, huh? This is it? No, the last phone call you make?
Yeah, I told my wife with what the scalpers are getting, I don't know if she's going to be able to go. she put the convince of that. So, no, my wife and daughters will be sitting and cheering loudly for the Aztecs.
All right, well, it'll be a blackout. Hey, Coach, really appreciate it. As always, thank you very much. Best of luck this weekend. Going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Darren.
You got it. Brian Dutcher here on XX10.